first, your speed came out as on the average about 116.
Yeah.
So it's above elite men's average, including professional players, college players, and then some teaching professionals.
Right.
But for your height,
But I feel like, yeah, for my height, for my athleticism, it's very low.
yeah, for your height, you're not generating enough speed. It's below the men's
Right.
average. So this is normalized to your body height. This
And
is
so should it be, as you get taller, you should be able to hit it further?
if you will use your leverage well.
Yeah.
And then, so overall swing time is less than 800 milliseconds. This is really short. That means you're rushing. I like a faster backswing, but you're
Yeah.
rushing a lot. So
Okay.
let me adjust the time here. So men's average is a slight over 1,000 milliseconds, but yours is less than 800 milliseconds. So your swing is really short,
Yeah.
or really fast. But I see the sign of rushing.
Okay. So do you think is it more like the relationship between the backswing and the downswing time that is important, or the total time? That's
As
more
I
important?
asked you to the VJ
VJs,
sing
yeah.
thing, you're rushing too much on the way down.
Right.
So you have to mature your backswing, and then on the way down, you pretty much throw the club instead of.
Right.
Now, if you look at the top view here, this large rectangle is your swing plane.
Okay.
Based on your club head motion.
Right.
Your club head motion is way
Quite far to the
outward.
right.
So this is on the average 8.5 degrees.
Okay.
This is severely outward.
Yes.
And also this smaller rectangle is your hand motion plane. It's even more
Even more.
outward,
Wow,
14.3 degrees.
Interesting.
So your hand motion is a lot more outward than the club head motion.
Right.
Usually when this happens, you have tendency of a drop here and then
Right.
flipping here. So more than anything, you have to reduce the angle here.
Yeah.
So the swing plane may be about 2 degrees outward. And then hand motion plane should be fairly toward the target.
Right.
Your ball is going more this way here.
Right.
It's because you're dropping this side quite a
Yes.
bit, and then
Yeah.
you have this.
And is that how closely connected is that hand plane and the plane of the club to, like, how much is that and the arm dropping then connected to the speed?
So basically, what you have is you're keeping the ball too close to your body. I
Okay.
was a bit surprised by the tee position.
Yeah.
So in other words, you're tall, but you keep everything close to your body, so that even the ball is closer.
Right.
So you cannot really extend and let it go. So you cannot use your leverage.
Right.
If you're tall and then you have a longer leverage, then by letting it go, then you have long leverage here.
Right.
But because you are keeping everything close to your body, drop on this side here.
Right.
So you are keeping everything really close to your body.
Right.
So you cannot really take advantage of your leverage. Okay.
Okay.
So, but these are severely outward, and then you need to adjust these more toward the target.
Yeah.
And particularly, you have to reduce the angle difference here. This is about what, the 6-degree difference.
Right.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And so you want
So
this thing very close
when
together.
your hand motion plane is more outward than the swing plane, typically this is coming from the so-called the reverse spotter swing. So let me show you.
Okay.
This is along the swing plane here.
Okay.
This straight line is the swing plane calculated from your club head motion.
Okay.
And then now, on the way back, you see how the club head is moving relative to the swing plane.
Yeah.
You're
To
going
that
way
side. Yeah.
up and then dropping here. And with this, so hand stays close to the swing plane, but club head is way away
Yeah.
from the swing plane, coming this way. But at the top, you have a lot of layoff here.
Yes.
At the backswing top, a lot of layoff. So when this happens, once downswing starts, the club head goes below the swing plane here,
Right.
which is not good.
Right.
You need to keep the club head either on the plane or above the plane.
Okay.
but you never go below.
Right.
In that case, if it goes below here, then you cannot really throw the ball, but you have to wait until this comes in front of your body.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
So it goes way below the swing plane. It's a quite severe reverse spiral pattern here. And then if to flip your hands here,
Right.
and then now you're deviating from the swing plane quite a bit here.
Right.
So there are three different styles. Planar swing. In the planar swing, at the top, the club stays above the swing plane.
Yeah.
Then coming down to the swing plane, a nice planar motion here, and going above. So from the positive deviation
Yeah.
to a zero, and then positive deviation again. Right. And then, so the deviation at the top and the deviation at this position, these are fairly balanced. It's called the planar swing.
Right.
The second pattern is a spiral swing.
Okay.
So stay above the swing plane, so positive deviation.
Yeah.
Comes down to the swing plane, and then in the follow through, it goes below the swing plane.
Right.
So negative deviation here.
Right.
Positive to a negative deviation. Yes. And then, so the color path looks like this. It's a spiral path.
Yeah, I see it, yeah.
Yours is reverse spiral.
Reverse spiral.
So here you have a negative deviation.
Right.
And then you have a severely positive deviation here.
Understood.
So it's the opposite to the spiral. It's mainly because of your severe layoff action here at the top. This is too much.
Right.
So instead of going way above and then drop here, coming below here, so you have a lot of off-plane motion here.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, the goal in the golf swing is you have good planar motion here, develop good speed, but you're wasting a lot of energy creating this motion here.
Like moving away from the plane then. Okay, understood.
So you have to direct your effort more along the swing plane.
More right, instead of having it moving above and then below.
And more active on-plane motion.
Understood.
The shallowing will help a little bit to use your wrist better, but this is too much.
Okay.
And you are going below the swing plane here, so you cannot really throw, but
it's so far. Okay.
So this is a severe, reverse spiral pattern here.
Understood.
And then you need to change this. And then the center of mass motion is complete away from the typical pattern here. So at this point, let me show you someone's pattern here, and then let's compare yours with that person. This is Grant Waite.
Yeah.
Now, his planes are fairly aligned toward the target here.
Right.
And both the swing plane and hand motion plane are parallel to each other.
Yeah.
So when you throw your hand toward the target line, the club head also moves in that direction.
Yes.
Now, this is the swing plane view here. The club head is more moving along the swing plane here.
Yeah.
And it has to go above.
Yeah, I see that.
And because of the anatomical limitation, you cannot keep moving along the swing plane, but eventually this has to go a bit higher.
Right.
So naturally it goes above the swing plane at the top here. And from there you have a natural shallowing, again down to the swing plane here.
Right.
Now from here his club head is already on the swing plane here. Good planar motion, and then go above here.
Right.
So in his case, still he has a reasonable shallowing motion here.
Yeah.
It's a natural shallowing motion, and then particularly at the beginning of the backswing here, you will see that mostly he is moving along the swing plane here.
Right. Yeah, like he's right on the plane for a long time there.
Now, let's go back to yours. This graph shows how your body's center mass moves.
So that's oriented as though it's the ground.
This is the frontal view. Okay, so this is the left. This is right.
Oh, so this is like
left.
So the center of mass in my body moving left, right.
Yeah, in the front
Understood.
of plane here. But you're starting from here, Okay, this is where your center of mass is,
Okay.
and it goes up early, and then after that you are dropping your body, and then try to push here.
Right.
This is a unusual pattern, and then let's go back to Grant's. I forgot to show you that pattern. You have these are generally showing how you are moving your body here. This is the center of mass motion.
Interesting. Well, now I see exactly what you were talking about earlier. I see how.
So the center of mass initially moves away, and then goes up here,
Yeah.
and it has a diagonally downward motion and a diagonally upward motion.
Right.
But in your case, it goes up, drops quite a bit, and then going up here.
Can I
So
ask
that means you are lacking lateral motion completely, and also at the beginning of the backswing, your body goes up. Early motion is going up here, and then you start sitting down here.
Right. I have two questions. One is how consistent is that pattern among, like, Grant Wade obviously was a phenomenal ball striker, and you have him in 2014, which is awesome. Among like the best ball strikers that you've had, how consistent is that pattern?
It depends on the golfer, but if we add, for example, here, so this is the standard deviation.
Interesting.
Yeah, but still, it's fairly consistent here.
Right. It is.
Now, so that means that you are lacking the fundamental rhythm, which is almost like a stepping like a rhythm here.
Right.
But your goal is to use your arms quite a bit and then try to hit the ball.
And so one other question. So I've over the years, multiple swing coaches. I've done a little bit of work with Dr. Scott Lynn, and everybody has felt as though my best option to play well will be to be a bit more on my left side.
You learned it that way, but that's what I don't like about what they are talking about. Like, what is it?
Like the front leg,
Yeah,
like,
front-
like front post, rear
For
post.
the rear post. That's probably because of the way the golfer learned,
Right.
okay, how to do the swing. But it may not be the best option for the golfer.
Interesting.
These guys don't want to make enemies.
Right.
So they will just classify things, and they go through the test and then say, okay, you're better with this style, but I don't do that.
I see. So that's almost, you see that almost as like sorting people into a category versus like the first principle of what would
Yeah.
actually.
So
make
they will
people
just
swing well.
put you in a category, but they will not say your pattern is bad.
Right.
As soon as they say your pattern is bad, then they become your enemy. If you're an instructor, let's say,
Right.
you are teaching certain
You're
certain
teaching a
pattern,
certain swing, and then.
but
yeah,
then
I see.
the scientist that says that pattern is bad, then you're already enemy of this instructor.
Right. And so do you think there's a, like, between, one player and another player, do you think are there factors between players that might make it such that like one player would have less?
So you may have your uniqueness,
more on their left side.
but it's mostly it's about your learning, or your experience, previous experience.
Right.
But let's assume that really this style is good for you
Sure.
naturally.
Sure.
Okay? Then if I ask you to do something else, what I see, the best.
Right.
If I ask you to do this pattern, then usually you will not be able to change your pattern to this. If you are naturally inclined to this pattern.
Right.
But most of the golfers, they change it. This.
Right. Interesting.
So what you are currently doing is not necessarily the best for you.
Right.
You just that's what you learned,
Yeah.
or somehow that's what
Well,
you
and
are
like
forced
the other,
to use.
Right. And the other thing was, if you're asking about the way my foot moves, because part of it was I dealt with a long series of issues with my left ankle, which like now it's like 100% healthy. It feels great. But for like there was like a 2-year period where like when I was playing and when I was competing, I was in quite a bit of pain.
So usually when you have pain or issues, that means you have too much load on that spot.
Right.
And it could be because you're exerting too much force, unnecessarily
Right.
extraneous effort there.
Yeah. 'Cause, like,
So actually, your ground reaction force pattern actually shows that.
that I have too much force? Can you have too much force?
Yes,
Interesting.
you're wasting it, and then you're just putting burden on
Because
your
there's
on
a
your
lot
body.
of, it seems like that's one thing is when I've seen my swing on something like Swing Catalyst, like I see that the levels of force I generate are very high. But it's like, why is the club head speed, like if I'm,
So that
standard deviations above
that force is
the club
not
force, it's not making it to the
translated
club.
to your caliber speed,
Exactly. That frustrates me.
and you are just wasting your energy
Yes.
there. So you'll see in the ground reaction force pattern, that's too much.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow,
So
okay.
that's why you have to really work with someone like me, because I have currently in my database I have close to 500
Right.
golfers.
Well, I think that at my size, a lot of golf teaching, it's by analogy. It's by like, Hogan swung this way, but physically I am nothing like
And then
a lot of
even
the people.
even the instructors, they don't understand Hogan's swing that well. That's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have
that's a big point.
1,000 different versions of Hogan's swing,
Right.
different interpretations.
Right.
They only see how much they understand.
Right.
So the way I approach this is that, I just try to understand the data, and based on what I learned from the data, and then all the correlation profiles and things like that, then I try to interpret your swing.
Right.
So I stick to the data.
Right.
I don't use my experience
it's
as a
not
golfer
the
because I'm not a good golfer, and I don't really care,
Yeah.
about playing well.
Right.
But I just want to completely, eliminate what I do, but just to focus on the data. And we've gone through a lot of analysis, so I have a good understanding of the global picture of what a
Right.
biomechanically good golf swing should be.
Right.
And then, but when people say you are this pattern, you are this style, and this is good for you, this is good for you, I get angry because that's not the message they should give. The better pattern is this, but you're away from this much or
Right.
this much. But you need to go more toward the typical pattern,
Right.
because that's how the biological system responds to the task.
Right.
When you have a distribution here, and then the center of the distribution, the mean value, is also what we see the most frequently,
Right.
like this. That means that the way the body is structured, and we are supposed to respond this way here. But then you can have a bit more extreme cases, but or in the better direction or worse direction. But if you go this far here from the mean, you are using unusual pattern here,
Right.
very unusual pattern here. So you have to understand what the average pattern is,
Right.
because the average pattern is not just the average value of people, but the average pattern is also what we see most frequently. And that's how the biological system should respond naturally.
And it's not and you don't think that like average pattern, it's not like everybody's wrong in how they're responding. Like,
It just shows, the typical response of the biological system. We do have noise, and so there's a variability in the response, but the average shows the most frequent response, because we're supposed to move in that way
right.
to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But then we can enhance it a bit more in the positive direction,
Okay.
okay, to intentionally promote certain things.
Understood.
Yeah, but if you're too much away from that,
If it's too far. Yeah.
then you are an outlier,
Yeah.
and then you have to go more back to the typical pattern here,
Right.
because you are not doing things in a typical way.
Right.
But so we have to look at the different aspects of the swing,
Understood.
and then we can see whether your pattern is really unusual
That makes
or
sense.
close to the middle, but a bit different.
Okay.
So
Thank you. You too.
So now let's go to directly go to the kinematic sequence here. So the kinematic sequence basically shows the angular velocity, so rotational velocity,
Right.
and so these lines show represent the different body parts. The red line is the pelvis,
Okay.
green is the thorax, blue is the shoulders, and then these two are the gray is the arms, and then this one is the club here.
Okay.
And then the most important sequence in golf swing is the transition sequence.
Okay.
So we need to see a relatively long transition phase, which is from the pelvis transition point to the club transition point.
Right. And I'm guessing that's where I am way off.
So you have
Got
we have a reasonable time here,
Okay.
but now the pelvis turns first, so then the thorax, shoulders, and then the arms and club together.
Okay.
So generally, it's showing the central to peripheral sequence,
Yes.
but you have a tendency of clustered transition between the arms and the club here.
Okay.
So that means either you are at the beginning of the downswing, you're throwing the club head or something. So your arm motion and then club motion are synchronized.
Okay.
But this also should be separated.
Okay.
So you have a partial central to peripheral sequence.
Yes.
Okay. But then we can also look at the backswing sequence here and the downswing sequence.
Mm-hmm.
The backswing sequence. So this is when the pelvis angular velocity peaks here, the red line here.
Right.
But then before that, you have thorax and shoulders reaching peak values. In other words, you are starting the backswing by turning the thorax and shoulders instead of moving the lower body.
Okay.
So it's a reverse the sequence.
Okay.
Okay. So you have an early action of the thorax and shoulders. That means you are intentionally just rotating the shoulders here.
Yeah.
And then the pelvis peak here. And then your arms here reach peak angular velocity at this point
Okay.
after the club reaches peak angular velocity here.
Okay.
These are reversed here.
Interesting.
Normally, if you have a good flowing motion, you let it go here, then body starts, and then you have a peripheral.
Right. So it should
parts
go
here.
like central to peripheral.
Yes.
All the way. Because that makes sense to me because that's like doing the motion that you were showing me. And then like that last piece would be kind of the club.
And then,
Fully talking that.
and this is because you are lifting the club head quite a bit, so your upper body is acting here.
Right.
After that, your lower body is responding.
Right.
But if you shift first and then let it go, as if you're throwing the club head, in a natural motion, if your interest is to throw this nicely here, then normally what happens is your body first moves using the body motion and you're throwing to this here.
Right.
But if you use
Yeah. I see. Yeah.
shoulders and arms here, then the sequence is screwed up here.
Right.
So your backswing sequence, usually backswing sequence is a partially central to peripheral, but you have actually reversed that sequence here.
Interesting. Okay.
So the way you start the backswing is you're starting it with the shoulders.
And so is that setting the stage then for like moving so quickly out of transition?
Sure, because what you do in the backswing basically tells you what to do in the downswing.
Right.
So if you tend to use the arms in the backswing, then you tend to use your arms on the way down.
Okay.
If you use wrister a lot in the backswing, then you tend to use wrister a lot on the way down. If you use the body in the backswing, then you tend to start the downswing with the body.
Right.
So always, the purpose of backswing is not to bring this to this position, but the quality of the backswing dictates what you do in the downswing.
Interesting. So it's really about getting the sequencing of the backswing to move
Yeah.
central out to peripheral
Yep.
so that you can now have that like more flowing transition that you talked about, and then you're set up to actually throw the club because you have that sequence.
So you have to see the whole swing motion as one continuous motion,
Right,
and you have to have good flow there.
right,
And then so here, in the backswing, we have reversed the sequence here. Your shoulder and the thorax and shoulders go reach the peak first, and then the pelvis, and also the club first, and then the arms here.
interesting.
Then in the transition, we have clustered the transition of the arms and club.
Right,
And in the downswing sequence here, so this is when the pelvis reaches peak value, okay? When the club is aligned vertical here. So this is the right timing here.
sorry, can you say that one more time?
This is downswing,
Yep,
the pelvis peak,
okay.
you see
yes.
the red line here, the
Yes.
pelvis peak here. So it's at this point.
Yes,
So this is good timing here.
great.
However, the green and the blue, these are delayed here
They're delayed, okay.
quite a bit. They also have to happen about here,
So they should all happen at basically the same
almost
time?
almost at the same time.
And so that's what's setting the stage to really throw the club then. Is
So because
all of those-
your goal is to promote good turning motion and then throw. So
Right.
basically, you will have a separation between the body, arms, then the club here. So you have good delayed wrist motion later, so that the pelvis, thorax, shoulders, and then arms pretty much reach peak value around here.
Right,
Then you have separation here, so the club reaches peak angular velocity here.
right.
But in your case, your thorax and shoulders are reaching peak value here because you have excessive shoulder turn on the way down.
Right, and so is that like the kind of like the end product then of all the that's sort of the end product of the sequencing that happens here,
So before the backswing is matured,
right?
you go up and quickly coming down here, pull this down.
Right.
You have excessive shoulder turn on the way down. Rather, on the way down, you speed up your body here. Then you have to let the club head go here. The goal
Right.
is to throw the club head, but
Because I'm just like I'm basically holding the speed here. I'm never letting it.
so you feel like you're putting a lot of effort,
I do.
but timing is
To
off.
not go very far.
Yeah. Everything should be about promoting the club head motion here.
Right.
So at some
And-
point, your body has to start slowing down. That's this point here.
Right, and so it's bringing the point of maximum angular velocity in my downswing, bringing those all into alignment. Like that's what creates that throwing,
And then,
and that's where my sequencing is really.
yeah.
hurting the speed.
So from this point on, your body will all slow down, but your club keeps increasing the speed.
Right, and so that's sort of like the end point of why I'm not generating more speed
And then also your wrist motion here.
and my wrist motion. Okay.
So this pink line here shows the wrist motion
Okay.
on the swing plane.
Right.
So it's not just this motion, it's not just this motion, but combination of these two and also this motion here
Right.
in the forearm.
Right.
So basically, if we look at how the club rotates relative to the arms on the swing plane,
Yeah.
and this pink line shows the angular velocity.
Right.
And then, so negative value means cocking,
Yeah.
positive value means uncocking.
Right.
So you have transition from cocking to uncocking right at the top of action here. So this is no different from casting.
So and what?
This is why your transition of the arms and club are together here. It's clustered.
And so
So let's say
it should be what? It
go
should be
up here, and then as your arms move down,
the-
still you have a
then the
more
wrist is
cocking.
Still cocking.
It's called the down cocking.
Right.
So when you have a down cocking, the uncocking timing is delayed, right? Then uncocking should start actually about here. Good delayed uncocking will start about here.
Okay, but wouldn't that then make because doesn't my point of maximum angular velocity of my wrist come too late? Like, shouldn't it be?
No.
earlier?
So if you have a good delayed release, then this actually goes up. Remember, the body, initially the body accelerates here, and the body has enough momentum. by using this wrist motion, the body slows down. The momentum of the body is transferred to the club. So body slows down, but your club gets really fast here.
Right.
With that, you have a rapid increase in the wrist angular velocity. And this goes above this man's average.
Right.
Then the club angular velocity goes way above the man's average.
Right.
But you have casting-like action here.
Interesting.
You have to see this in the swing plane here. So from here, you're just letting the club go away. So actually, by the time you reach about here, 7 is in the frontal plane when the lead arm is paired to the ground.
Yeah.
Your club is already moved away from your body quite a bit. In the frontal plane, this gives wrong information, wrong image. In the frontal plane here, it looks like the club is still close to your body. So you have a lot of lag.
It looks very like almost, yeah.
Because you dropped it behind the butt. If you look at in the swing plane view, the club is already away from your body.
Interesting. See, that's something that I've never heard somebody explain.
Yeah.
That. That's
You
so
see now here the lead arm is horizontal here. So
Yes,
this is 7. This is event 7.
Because I don't think anybody would look at that position from the frontal plane and say, "Oh, that's too far from my."
So now here it looks like you still have a good leg here,
Yes.
but the main plane of rotation is
Oh, because it's like basically the club is dropped so much that it creates the illusion.
yes, that's the illusion. So you think
Wow.
you are maintaining
Right. Yeah. Because the crazy part is for years, my own opinion and the way the way different instructors and people I've talked to like swing have framed it is like that's actually too much, like in close to me
Let me.
because it almost looks.
So this gives you an illusion
Right.
that you really maintain the
Yeah,
leg.
because it looks very.
However,
close and
on
connected,
the
but it's actually-
on the swing plane, it's already here.
right, and so that's because I've
In the
brought the club away from me and behind me.
yeah.
And,
So and as you can see here at the top of it, from the top of action, you're just starting the uncocking,
right,
letting it go. You need to delay this,
right.
but that excessive layoff, it just gives a bad illusion. But in terms of the wrist motion, actually, it's not giving you delayed
And so
release.
it's the combination though of the wrist motion and the way that my hands have fallen so much.
So
That's creating
let
that
me
look,
let me
isn't it?
let me run this a bit faster back and forth, okay? So then this will give you better idea here. So go up here, and then at the end you are giving extra wrist
Yes, I see
motion
that,
here.
Yes.
It's an excessive wrist motion here, actually.
Okay.
Unless from here you actually use a long driver type swing motion.
Okay.
So what's happening is that at the end of the backswing, you are giving extra wrist cock here,
Yeah.
but so this looks like you are maintaining this well is because it's laid off,
It's just falling further and further behind me. Yeah.
laid off here. So that's because of this going down here. This
Right.
the club is way behind here.
But I'm actually casting it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you are actually having casting like
Yeah.
effect
That's
here.
so interesting. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So
That's
then,
big.
when we look at it in the swing plane view here,
Right.
the club is moving here. And
Right.
also, because it's dropped quite a bit here, you cannot really act on the throwing here, but rather you're dropping and wait until it comes in front of your back.
Right. Can I just see this played back, like the backswing into transition in this view? Now as you've. Right. I see. Yeah. Now see there, it does look like you're casting it. Like it's. Yeah. Wow.
And also
Yeah, because that looks like I'm going like this.
and also because you have this dropping layoff, excessive layoff here, your elbow has to be stuck here.
Yes.
So your elbow
Wow.
is staying close to your body. Okay? And then when the elbow is colliding your body here, then you have to go out here. That's why you have outward
Yes.
swing plane here.
Yes.
If the elbow goes in front of your body here, then nothing obstructs your arm motion, so you can really throw hard here. But
Right.
When you come here, then you have just to push.
Yes.
So, so in terms of the wrist motion here, this is a severely early release here.
Right.
So almost a casting-like action here.
So interesting.
But a better pattern is oh, this is yours again.
Is Grant Way your favorite swing that you've captured?
He has many positive, characteristics here. So one golfer has many of these positive things. So it's easy for me to highlight that.
Yeah. Wow, I can't believe that. That makes it's so amazing though, because I don't think I've ever been shown my swing from that like perpendicular to the plane view. But when you look at it like that, if it's like if my hands didn't fall behind me so much, then I would look at my swing from face on and I would see this and I would go, wow.
So if you look at it down the line view, and then consider the swing plane, then it shows that you have a lot of layoff.
Yes, I can see that. Yeah.
Then you have to consider that in interpreting the frontal view motion.
Right.
But usually instructors nowadays they're busy of reading numbers
Right.
on the device instead of watching the swing motion. So
Right.
it's an interesting trend in these days. But and even scientists, when they interpret data, they will just say you are this style, this style, this style, or you may just go through a simple test and then you are better with this.
Right.
But if you are already accustomed to that particular pattern, you have tendency of showing that pattern, and then
Right.
they say, you are good with this pattern. That does not make sense.
Right.
So that's why I say the way I look at the data is different from what most people do.
Right.
So this is a transition sequence. Look at this. How well they are separated.
Wow, yes, it's very clear. Wow, that's so interesting.
Also the wrist here.
Yeah.
So in the
So am I, for his wrist though, am I seeing goes down, back up, and then goes back down again for a moment? Why is that?
so this is the top, and then on the way down, because he's turning with his body,
Yeah.
he's not using his arms that much at the beginning of the downswing. So body is
Right.
leading. So
There's a little bit more. That's the down cocking.
and then you have down cocking here.
I
So
see, okay.
this is when he starts the uncocking here.
Right, and I see that the peaks are more aligned.
And then from here, now the wrist angular velocity increasing, it exceeds the man's average.
Right.
So he also has a tendency of turning the shoulder a bit more here, but the thorax peak occurs here.
Right.
The pelvis, thorax, and then the arms are pretty much at the same time here.
Right.
And then letting it go here. So then the club head will catch up quickly, and then now the club head goes ahead of the hands here, around here.
Right.
And then the shoulder only turns this much, but you have a lot of shoulder turn.
Right.
So if you look at this pattern here, good sequence here.
Yes.
And also in the backswing, the pelvis peak is here, thorax peak here, and then shoulder here, the arms here, and then the club here.
Right. Yeah, I see that.
So usually the body usually reaches the peak angular velocity almost together.
Right.
Okay, here, and then the arms and club. So that's why I say partial, central to peripheral sequence.
Yes.
But you should not have reversed the sequence.
Right.
And then, so these are happening almost at the same time here. So overall, the kinematic sequence is a lot better here. So you're putting a lot of effort, but it may not be that efficient.
No, it doesn't seem that way.
So this is impact. See how much you're turning here.
Yes. Yeah.
Instead of just letting the arms and club go here.
Right.
That actually puts a lot of burden on your spine.
Yes. Amazingly, I have zero back pain right now. But right now.
Yeah. So again, if you look at the kinematic sequence here, that we see sign of issues here. Particularly, you need to use your wrist quite a bit, use wrist well. And then on the way back here, 3 and 4 here are happening almost at the same time. Okay, 3 is when the lead arm is parallel to the ground in the backswing.
Yeah.
4 is when the club is vertical in the frontal plane. So you're in the frontal view. If you go here, your lead arm is parallel to the ground, and then right after that, the club becomes vertical here. So between 3 and 4, you don't have much space here.
Right.
But usually, when the lead arm is here, the club has to go more this way here. So you are introducing early wrist cock here. Early wrist cock and then throw.
Right. And I'm trying to think about how that would be
So
thought about from the plane view.
yeah, if you just relax your wrist and then, okay, just pay attention to the white ball motion here. Throw the white ball here and then throw the white ball. If your focus is throw the end of the club or the white ball here, then automatically you'll go to this position first. Then, if you keep going, that this becomes a vertical, and then you go here. And then as the body comes down, it stays there, and then later you throw here.
Right.
So it's all about you have to pay attention to the motion of the white ball instead of
Right.
body-centric perspective.
Right.
Because ultimately the goal is to move the end point around. Yeah. So when you give good natural, a nice acceleration, deceleration, and then reverse the direction, and then acceleration, and then deceleration here,
Right.
then you will have a better sequence. But you are forcing it. You go higher up, and then
Yeah.
you're forcing it. That's why your sequence is off.
Interesting.
And then, so even if you are turning quite a bit here, but your X factor is actually close to a man's average maximum here.
So both
This
the
this
hip and the
separation,
shoulder
yeah,
turning a lot.
separation here is because here they tend to turn pretty much together here.
Right.
So you have early rotation up to this point, the shoulder turns faster than the pelvis,
Right.
so the X factor increases rapidly here. There's a slope change here.
Yeah.
Then you cannot turn anymore. You cannot increase this anymore. So now they are pretty much moving together.
Right.
So the slope becomes a bit flatter.
Flatter. Yeah.
Yeah. And then now let's go to the frontal view here and then see how you are interacting with the ground.
Yeah.
Okay. So the middle one here is the force.
Okay.
So you see these arrows here.
Yeah.
So the middle one, the red line shows this arrow here. This is a combined force.
Okay.
And then green is the force acting on the lead side, and then the blue is the force acting on the trail side here. So at the beginning of the backswing, you have more force acting on the lead foot, which is natural,
Okay.
which is normal. And then after that, you're going here. So at this point, you have more force acting on the trail side,
Right.
and less on the lead side. But this difference should be a lot bigger.
A lot bigger. Okay.
This has to go up here. This has to go down quite a bit here.
Okay.
And the reason why you don't have that much difference is because eventually soon, again, these switch here. From this point on, you have more force acting on the lead side here. But this is top of action. At top of action, you have more force acting on the lead side.
Yeah.
This is a stack and tilt.
It's the second one part.
Stack and tilt,
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
which is bad.
Which is bad.
Again, I already made a lot of enemies, because I recommend against the stack and tilt.
Right.
And all the stack and tilt instructors are my enemies automatically. This is really bad here. So because you try to move your body shift the body toward the target early,
Yeah.
try to load more on your lead side. That's why this difference is not much.
Right. So the difference would be bigger if I was actually getting onto my trail.
Yeah, if you actually,
And that goes back to the motion we were doing
yeah,
much earlier.
if you stand on the right side here,
Yes.
you have a lot more force on this side, so you can even do this.
Right.
But here and then shift and then kick here. But you are going here, so already loading onto left side, and then try to increase this force hard.
Yeah.
So you are pushing the ground like a crazy. That's why you have had the problem.
Yeah.
So when you early shift to this side and then you have loading more on this side, then I'll give you this analogy here. When you walk, okay, when you have good shift to this side and then this side, then it's using both equally here.
Right.
But if you early shift your body so that you put more force on this side at top of action, that it's like this way.
That makes sense. Okay.
And then, so when you have a good shift and the natural stepping like rhythm, then you can swing this continuously many times here. But if you put more force on this side, swing, swing, swing,
You break that rhythm.
you quickly tire
Right.
your lead legs
Right.
muscles
Yes.
because you're not using this much. But this should be your
So out of bounds,
your
you
preferred
lost
side.
that, like, one.
This is your dominant side, right?
Yeah.
But you're just loading on the lead side, which is your non-dominant side.
But my left leg, like I've been on like a hamstring dynamometer, for example. My left leg actually always tests out as a little bit stronger.
Because you are
But you're
constantly,
saying, I see what you're saying. You're saying, yeah.
you're constantly using this
You're
side
saying
here.
it's adaptive, but yeah.
And then, so here, if you look at the red line here, this red line should go higher here.
Right.
You should have a net push here. So this is one body weight.
Yeah.
Okay, and then when you have good loading on the trail side, the total force has to be also greater than the body weight because you're actively pushing the
You're
ground.
pushing, yeah.
But this has to go up, but it stays
Right.
at your body weight. That means you're just distributing the weight differently,
Right.
but you're not having
no
a
push,
that push there. And then this is called the unweighting. Your force is less than the body weight. So this is called the unweighting phase.
Okay.
Okay? So when you have good push, then the unweighting follows.
Okay.
When you have a good unweighting, then you have a good push here.
Okay.
But now, so because of this unweighting, you have good push, but this is too much.
Too much. Okay.
If this push goes above 2 times your body weight, is too much.
Interesting.
You know, when you have good stepping like a rhythm, then your maximum force should be around between 1.8 to 2 times your body weight.
Interesting.
If you go more than that, then you're wasting a lot of energy.
Interesting.
So, and particularly you are in this, position with the disadvantage because at the top you are already loading to this side here. So when you try to walk like this,
Yeah.
and then try to use this side really
Yeah.
like this.
Right. Right.
But if you use both sides equally, then you can
Right.
easily
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that.
exactly.
But pretty much you're doing this.
Right. Right.
So this force is excessive. Okay? And that's why, again, I don't like those people who are reasonably active in terms of dealing with the data. Like, I shouldn't say someone's name, but I mean those who are the so-called biomechanists, sports scientists,
Right.
and they show data, but nobody will say this is too much.
Yes.
Even they will test this with the or is a certain jump and things like that, maximum effort jump.
Right.
Golf swing is a sub-maximal action here, so you don't have to have that much force.
Right.
and this is excessive. If it goes above 2 times your body weight, that's excessive.
Too much.
And you are in disadvantageous position here because you are putting more weight on the lead side already at the top. And using this, if you try to push that hard, then you're just killing this side, left side.
Well, the left side of my body, I've never had an injury on the right side of my body. I've never even had like an ache or pain on the right side of my body. I take good care of myself. I'm in good shape, so I don't have a lot of aches on the left side of my body either. But anything that hurts, whether it's been like a shoulder or ankle or like my left hip will occasionally get a bit tight, but my right side.
So this is men's average maximum.
Right.
You're way above.
Yes.
And then having more force is good, but this is too much.
But too much. Okay.
Now, this is the so-called moment arm. Okay, moment arm,
Right.
which is basically separation between the total force here and then this red dot, which is the center of mass.
Okay.
So on this side here, so currently it is more or less passing through the red dot here. So there's no separation. So the moment time is 0.
Okay.
And then the force stays on the left side here. So this is when it shows the most separation here.
Right.
But here, because you are going to shift the body to this side early, so this force is upright here, right?
Okay.
But at this point, it has to go more this way here. It has to incline a little bit. When you actively push the ground with the right leg, then the force goes more toward the trail side. It should incline.
Right. So my trail force is too vertical right now.
At this point, because you want to shift the body quickly to the, you see, you're dropping your body, you're dropping your left side here. With that, you're shifting toward the target.
So I need to shift more. So
You
do I need
have
to be
to
shifting
shift
more-
away.
I need to shift more away to create the force that comes on
And
the
then
angle.
return, yeah. So that,
So it returns on the angle, but it returns on the angle because you've moved away from the target to begin with.
so then by the time you are here, you have the most unrating here. And then this is top of action. At this point, the center pressure still should be here, and then it should show good inclination here. The force should go this way here, rather than this way.
Interesting.
And so you have the longest momentum here because you have the most separation here.
Right.
So with this, you can generate the long momentum, and then this is the torque. Force times momentum is the torque you generate.
Right.
Torque is the cause of rotational acceleration. So it looks like you have a good value here of momentum and also torque here. But then, after that, it quickly decreases here. And even it's going in the opposite direction here.
Interesting.
You're moving your foot backward here. That means you're not pushing the ground that much with the lead leg.
Right.
So when this force is almost gone, then you have more force on this side. So the force passes the left side of the center of mass in this view here.
Yeah.
So the momentum is in the opposite direction. Torque is acting in the opposite direction here near the impact.
Right.
But this is okay. But you have too much here, and then the way the sequence is not that good here. So, and particularly your wrist is releasing early.
Right.
Now, again, so he's also starting with the more force acting on the leader side, and then soon they will cross here. He's not hurrying. He's not hurrying at the beginning. He's mainly shifting the body, and then now more forces will act on the trail side here from this point on. And this is when he has the most force in the backswing here, right?
Right.
It goes way above the body weight.
Yeah.
So good active push. And then this is when the trail side force is maximum here.
Yeah, I see that.
You see this force
I
is
see the angle
inclined.
too, yeah.
The center pressure stays close to the trail foot.
Yeah.
It's inclined more forward here
Right.
at this point. And then after that, unrating starts from here, continues unrating all the way, but this unrating peak occurs right after the top of backswing. You see this force here.
Right.
The center pressure still stays closer to the trail foot. It has good inclination, and then so he maintains long momentum here.
Right.
And then his force only goes slight above the elite man's average maximum. So this is about 1.86
Yeah.
times the body weight. But he has a lot more force still on the lead side here. The trail side force is less.
Right.
So from here, around here, when the lead arm is becoming parallel to the ground, about here the force becomes vertical here.
Right.
And then now it's located close to the lead foot here. This is a lot better pattern here.
Right.
And then, so at maximum here, around here is maximum. And then you will see that the momentum it decreases, but it never goes below here.
Yeah, it doesn't go like way on the trail side again the way it does for me.
So in terms of magnitude force, this is a lot less than yours. But he's generating as much torque. At the beginning, he's already generating a man's average maximum here. So, and then in this one, because he's using both legs here, so at the beginning he has a lead side push. In the backswing, he has a trail side push here. And then in the downswing, lead side push here. So he's basically
So it's lead, trail, and then lead again.
stepping like action here. But in your case, you have early push with the trail side, then lead side has more force from here all the way. So you try to do this jump like this.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because like I do try to feel like when this foot pushes into the ground, that it pushes my hip and it opens up my shoulder, and I find that helps. But what I'm realizing seeing this is I always think of it as like kind of like this, which is of course the way you're joking about,
Yeah.
walking, and there's never, but it has to be a push here to get there in the first
So
place.
initially,
And then if I do that, then this becomes more
Yeah,
of what
yeah.
you were talking
by
about.
using this push, and you have to create this posture here.
Exactly.
Then-
because otherwise I'm doing it there.
The body shifts
Versus-
first, shifts, and then try to turn here with that push.